Hello everybody and welcome back. Last time we defeated a kobold hoard and it was not quite the same setup as we experienced all those months ago in Castle Mistmere. Quite a different thing altogether. Malin got hit casting a spell. Well, that was new. Let us explore where these kobolds came from, and we discover two lairs. One seems to be the king's throne room with the usual large pot of rancid stew, and the other one is the barracks. The floor is strewn with sand and grass to try and create some kind of bedding, and that's about it. Now we go down here and we look due east and we discover a very long stair that seems to go up 50 feet and is 50 feet long. That's a 1-in-1 gradient, isn't it? Do we climb the stair or do we check out back here? Well, I think we have to do a wandering monster check. And it doesn't come up anything. I think we'll go up this stair, climbing up these dark tunnels in the lamplight, and we come to another junction. We can go north, or we can go further in to what looks like an open area with plenty of large tunnels. I think we'll try the singular area, and we walk around this corner here, and it's pitch black, and even as we approach it with the lantern, it remains pitch black. Malin steps forward, a bit bold, and he holds up the lantern to the edge of the blackness, and he puts the lantern in to the blackness. And we can see the lantern, and we can see the light, but the light dies immediately at the edges of the lantern, and even Malin's hand is in darkness. This room, Donard tells us, seems to have been cursed with a perpetual darkness. Now we don't have a perpetual light spell to dispel the darkness, and who knows what the hell is in there. We might come back, but let's continue on to this open cavern here, and yep. It's time. It's time for Wandering Monsters. Okay. And that is a crab spider. Now I can assume this crab spider was hanging from a thread above us. And maybe we saw it asleep, or maybe it's dropped upon us. And we surprise it. Now this thing is quite dangerous. So I think we're going to pepper it with missiles while it's still hanging, suspended upside down from the ceiling. It's got 9 HP and it's a 2-hit dice monster. So that means its THAC0 is 18. These things are deadly as they can do poison. But I think if we butcher it, it might actually lose its morale and climb up its thread into the stalactites and never be seen again. So let's have Liz have a go. It has an AC of 7 and she easily hits that and does 4 points of damage. It's from 9 to 5. Cullen misses. Gareth hits and does 4 points of damage. It's down to 1. That was our surprise round. Poor thing was just hanging upside down from a thread asleep. All of a sudden it's got an arrow and a crossbow bolt in it. And the next round is mutual. I'm gonna see what its reaction is. And that is possibly attack. Right. And it is attack. Right, so it drops down onto... Well, who does it drop down onto? And it picks Donard. Okay. And it misses him. Right, it's got 1 HP left. And that was a mutual attack round. As it was dropping, Liz, her THAC0 with short range is 13, so she hits AC 4 and kills it. Oh well, so there's one dead crab spider lying upside down, curled up at our feet. We're getting good at this. But this leaves us with a dilemma. We have got north, we've got northeast, we've got due east, and we've got south. We'll do north, east, or south. 1 to 2 north, 3 to 4 east, 5 to 6 south, and if it's east, we'll work out where to go next. And it seems to be north. Right, and that just leaves us with another junction. We can see the lamplight goes into a cave here, and it's empty. So we go back. Right, now we walk up here, we come to a fork in the road, and we can see 2 kobolds here. These are cliffs. This southern half of the map has a 50 feet elevation above the northern half of the map. It's though there's been some kind of seismic shift and the whole thing is just raised up. And this is a fault line. Somebody seems to have added stairs here. We haven't explored this one, but there are 2 kobold archers here at the top of this cliff looking for anybody who's coming from the north. They're facing away, so there's a good chance we will have surprised them, and we don't. And we get initiative. These little things don't have hardly any HP, just 3 and 2. Liz misses. Oh dear. Cullen hits and reduces 1 to 1 HP. Gareth misses badly. Why? What's going on? So our melee people are just going to rush forward. And Donard kills 1. Carrick misses. Wow. And Sylvia hits, and she does what's needed to kill the other. So we're at the top of these cliffs, and with 2 dead kobold archers at our feet, and we'll just have a look northward. Well, we can sort of guess that's where we've come from. Logic would say, if this leads back to the river, it's the opposite way where we should go. So we'll go back here, and we're left with northeast, east or south. And we'll do the usual vote in order. So that's 2 for northeast, and 2 for east, and only 1 for south. We'll let Sylvia have the deciding vote of north or east. 1 to 3 north. And it is, and so we decide to go into this area here. And it is just another massive cathedral of stalagmites and stalactites. The lamplight barely hits the top of the roof, and we continue on to the north or to the east. Considering we know we've come from there, the north, I think we'll just choose to go east. East, round the corner. By the time we get to here, it's time for another wandering monster check, which luckily turns up nothing. We enter into this cavern, and here are 2 lava lizards. We've encountered them before, and they look like giant iguanas. These are asleep. They look fairly well blended in with the rocks due to their own rocky skin, but they seem quite content just to bask in the heat and enjoy their sleep. Ahead of us here, at the south end of the cavern, we find a door, and indeed we can walk past these lava lizards and they leave us alone. Liz can listen at the door. She doesn't hear anything. Right, but the door is stuck, so Carrick is going to shoulder charge it. And he actually fails to shoulder charge it. If anything is in there, it's hurt us. We'll have another go. Nope. Let Donard have a go. Nope. Can Gareth? Yes. After 3 shoulder bashes, 4 bashes, this door, which is actually a slab of stone, bursts open, and we're into a small chamber. And lying in the middle of the chamber is the skeleton of a dead warrior. And he's still got his armour, his sword, his shield. Poor guy. Why did he end up locked behind that door? Don't know. But we will investigate his treasure. And he is holding 5 arrows that have got specially shaped tips on them. They kind of look silver. We'll take them anyway. Yeah, and he's got a sword and plate mail. Right, let's rest here for a bit. And back in a minute. Right, We've just found this dead warrior's body, and we've found 5 unusually good looking arrows on him. Twice already we've found magical treasure on the bodies of adventurers. So 3rd time's a charm, and Malin uses yet another wand of magic detection. And this guy's plate mail armor glows, as does his shield, and as does his sword. Nobody wants the plate mail +1, it's not dwarf sized, but Gareth Ironhand asks us, does anybody mind if he takes it? And of course we don't. And we already have many shields +1, but they're easy to carry, as is the sword, and we'll take them to try and sell. We've already got 1 extra sword +1 that we don't need. And also another thing glows, and that is the magic short sword. We found that on the kobold leader here, so that's a short sword +2. Liz will use that, but discard her old one. I have made a couple of mistakes so far. When Sylvia is in melee combat, I have ignored the fact she has a shield +1. Her AC is 4, but with a shield +1 it should be 2. I must remember that. I've also made a rather consistent blunder. When I roll for surprise, if I use the orange dice for our party and I use the green dice for the enemies, I have always consistently rolled a 1 or a 2 that you gain surprise rather than you are surprised. I think I'll keep it consistently that method until we get to the end of Horror on the Hill. I think I might change this when we get to our next adventure. The adventure after the Veiled Society is the Night's Dark Terror, so I will be correcting a lot of rules there, but let's just play on. Right, we've rested here. We know that this southern half of the map is 50 foot higher in elevation than the northern half. And I've described that as due to a fault line. So it seems sensible that we continue southward as that continues upward towards the surface. So let's go all the way along to here, and considering we rested for a bit, are we met with anything at this large junction? And we aren't. And we get to here, and immediately the cave system narrows into a 3 foot wide twisting passage, single file. So by the time we get to this corner here, and we round this corner, our dwarf is at the front. And he doesn't see anything. And then we continue on round to here, and we open up again into a large cavern. What we see lying on the cavern floor are 2 skeletons. Okay, nothing strange so far, but these skeletons have been blackened and almost turned to ash, and the walls around them have also been burnt, so whatever was able to burn mineral deposits within the rock and even turn them to glass. Most of our party have no experience with this whatsoever, but Carrick and Gareth speculate that it might be due to underground lava. Maybe some lava burst from somewhere and engulfed this place, though Gareth asks Carrick, where is the lava? The other likely explanation is that it might be due to some volcanic gas suddenly exploding and burning everything. Subterranean explosions, especially near volcanoes, are a known thing for dwarves, but these things happen instantaneously. They've never seen them be hot enough or last long enough to melt the walls. So there's something up ahead, and we're going to go cautiously around this corner. Are we? I'm going to roll for wandering monsters. I would say it's remarkable that there's nothing here, and the charred scorch marks continue, and up ahead you see a faint orange glow. Now we've seen lava before here in this crevice, and a similar kind of glow, and we got ambushed by a load of kobolds. So Liz is going to creep forward, but Malin says before she does, to make doubly sure, I'm going to cast invisibility on you. And sure enough, that is one of his 2nd level spells. He memorized invisibility and web. So he casts invisibility on Liz, and she creeps. Let's see if she can move silently to here. And she can. And let's see if she can creep a bit further. And she does again, and she's both invisible and silent. And she looks into this cavern and stops with fear. There is something which I'm just going to invent called dragon fear. If you've never seen a dragon before, you instantly freeze just for a brief second and are overcome with a clammy, sweaty fear. And that's what happens to Liz, because what is in this cavern is a dragon. Now she is both invisible and inaudible, so this dragon doesn't detect her. Had she been invisible but noisy, it would have heard her. That is not the case, so she creeps all the way back to here. Unsuccessfully, but she's out of hearing distance of the dragon. Now there's a chance this dragon is asleep. And it isn't. So it's aware something is there. Kobolds, adventurers, unlikely, people who have fallen from the caverns above, prisoners of the hobgoblins, probably. This dragon knows quite a bit, because it likes to toy with its prisoners, like a cat with mice, and it enjoys, as all dragons do, conversation, and so it will get information out of anybody who comes here, and then, well, let them run before they get blasted. So Liz walks back, shivering and sweating. Nobody sees that. She's still invisible. And then she just whispers, "Dragon." Of course everybody wants to know what she means. Even though she indicates to keep quiet with a finger over her mouth, nobody can see it. So she has to say again, "There's a dragon." This time they get it. And they walk back to here. Think, what on earth are we gonna do? Liz slaps her brother as an attack, and that makes her visible again. She's able to explain everything that she saw. She saw a dragon. It was red coloured. They asked, was it big? And she said, well, it looked big to me. And Gareth asks, well, is it bigger than other dragons? And Liz says, well, I don't know. Red dragons breathe fire, and all of a sudden, these charred bodies become clear. It also gives us a good clue that will be our fate. Are we going to get out of this alive? Now, there may be things to help us. There may be another way out in this very dark cave here. There's a cave, if you remember, is perpetually dark due to a cleric spell. And Donard says, well, I can cast light. Maybe there is another way out this way. And he also says, I have resistance from fire as a spell. Maybe one of us can distract this dragon while everyone else escapes. And by that, maybe he means himself. And well, that's all very noble of him, but we need to rest. Now we also work out there's no way the dragon can get into these narrow tunnels. So we're going to go back to here, and we're going to set up camp and plan this. Let us set up camp here, and the mood is not good. This looks like this is our final end. We are holding out hope that this cave here will provide us with some kind of secondary exit or a new path we haven't seen. So Donard is going to memorize a light spell, which we're told will dispel this permanent darkness. He's also going to memorize resist fire. So let's have a look quickly at resist fire. For the duration of this spell, the recipient cannot be harmed by normal fire and heat. The recipient also gains +2 bonus on all saving throws versus against magical fire, dragon's breath, fireball, etc. Furthermore, damage from such fire is reduced by 1 point per die of damage, though each die will inflict at least 1 point. Red dragon breath damage is reduced by 1 point per hit dice of the creature, again to a minimum of 1 point per damage per die. Okay, right, that's not the know everything. I thought that offered a bit more protection. Right, some sucker is going to have to go with that. And Carrick and Donard are quibbling about who it will be, and Carrick says he has a plan. Also, they're wearing rings of fire protection, but they haven't been tested yet as to what those rings do, and well, what better way to test them. So let's check for any wandering monsters when we made it back to camp. Now, And there is. I was hoping just to get this over and done with. 4. Oh, it's giant bats. And it's 1 to 4. 3 giant bats come swooping in. There's no surprise. They get initiative. And they're uncertain about us. Right, well that gives us a chance to arm ourselves and get ready. And 7, negotiate. Well, I think they're trying to dive bombing us, waiting to see what we will do to them. They're testing. They know we're prey. They're kind of trying to size us up as to whether or not we're dangerous prey. You know, are we going to bite back? Do we sting? And, oh god, and that is attack. So we've got 3 giant bats. And they won initiative. They've gone in for the attack. I've forgotten what a giant bat does. 1d4 damage. And hit points of 13, 10 and 8. Let's have an attack roll of 12 for 2 damage. And let's roll a dice. From 1 to 7, I'm going to look at my order that I've written my party in. 6. So that's Cullen to Filch. And that hits AC 7. He's got leather armor plus 2 dex, so that misses him. The second one goes for Donard, and that hits him for a tasty chunk of 4. He's down to 18. And the third bat goes for Liz and takes 4 off her. She's down to 15. Right, our go. Now, Cullen and Gareth are on missile weapons, so they move to the corner. Cullen misses. Gareth badly misses. He was firing over the heads of people, and that was 1 damage. Got to give him a 60% chance to miss. And nope, he hits. He rolls a 5, takes another point of damage off Donard. Let's do melee. Let's do Liz with her short sword plus 2, who misses. Let's do Donard, who misses. Let's do Sylvia, who hits and does 6 damage. 1 is down to 2. Let's do Carrick, who hits AC 5, and their AC is 6, and he kills 1. That is round 1 over with. Round 2. And we get initiative. Right, let's do Cullen, who hits, does 1 damage. 1 is down to 1 HP. Gareth, apologising to Donard, hits and does 4 damage. 1 is from 13 to 9. Melee. Liz hits AC 8. Donard hits and kills 1. There's 1 on Carrick. Sylvia. She's got a sword plus 1. She hits AC 8. And Gareth misses. It's round. And its morale holds up. So it's going to take another dive bomb onto character number 4, Liz again. For another 4 damage. She's lost 8 HP. Right. Cullen, trying to be the hero. With his 2 dex and short range bonus, it does good 6 damage. Shoots it right through one of its wings. Gareth isn't going to trust himself shooting at Liz. So let's see if she can defend herself. and she can't. Can Donard step in and save her? Nope. Sylvia misses. Oh, come on, Carrick. Yep, that's enough to hit and kill it. 3 giant bats we really didn't need. Okay, well, let's rest for the night. Before we do, we can cast a Cure Light Wounds on Donard and Liz. So Donard is from 17. He's up to 19. Liz is at 11. Sweet, she gets another 7. She's back up to 18. I didn't want or need that fight. That's a lot of time wasted. So let's get up and let's discuss our plans and how to take on this dragon. Right, the party have woken up here. We're going to try this very dark room, just in case there is something or anything which is an alternative to going past this dragon. So we walk into here and Donard casts his light spell into the room and it does indeed brighten up. It's a dead end. Oh well. The only good thing is that we find the body of the cleric who cast the light spell. He's lying there and he has on him some treasure. He's got some scrolls and a small bag containing some potions. And the scrolls are a cleric scroll with Cure Light Wounds ×2 and a Bless spell. And the magic user scroll contains Magic Missile, Phantasmal Force and Fireball. And the potions are 2 look like potions of healing, 2 potions of visibility. We now have about 5 of them. The last one, well, Malinois is willing to be one to test things. He takes a sip and he noticeably grows by about 2 inches and then very quickly returns to his normal size. This is a potion of growth, and we have another one of those, which I believe we may have found in the Minotaur's treasure in the Caves of Chaos. The thing about the magic user scroll, Malin does not have Magic Missile or Phantasmal Force, so he will be memorizing those. He already has a Fireball scroll, so Sylvia get that. So that was quite a good find. But as far as the party are concerned, we have no option but to go back here and to try and fight this dragon. And that is what we would call the end game. Our party can creep through here. There are no wandering monsters. Dragon has sterilized this much, and anything in these caves knows you don't hang around here. So we creep back to here, and, well, what will be perhaps the last fight of our lives, and we'll begin that again next time. So until then, see you.